Are you a people pleaser or people placater? In this episode, we discuss what role you could be playing and the effects in your personal relationships.
This is how legends are made.
Hi guys, hope you're doing super well wherever you are. It's Monday the 22nd of July and it's sunny, if not a bit humid out today. Today I want to do a couple of things. One is to say that because the school holidays are starting pretty much from tomorrow, I'm going to be kind of full-on childcare, or at least the majority of it. I will try and get some episodes out in the meantime, but that may not be a guarantee. Based on my time and commitments and responsibilities outside of work. But I will be on Instagram, and if you want to check me out on there, I'll hopefully put some things out there on a regular basis, maybe doing some smaller bite-sized videos, just thoughts, ideas, things I'm going through which kind of might be interesting. So check out my Instagram, which is @BenJacksonCoach. But the main thing I wanted to talk about on today's episode was about the reflections I had after reading a book about people pleasing. And the book, as the title suggests, is about the kind of psychology of people pleasers, the ones who go out of their way to do things other people. It's about when our values, our beliefs, our definition of who we are is intrinsic to our ability to please someone else. And my own reflections on this was that I don't kind of connect as that type of personality or type of that kind of history. I do kind of connect to some degree the people placater, the role which is a bit more smoothing things out, making things kind of all okay. It comes from a different kind of avenue than the people pleaser. The people pleaser is they're defined by the ability to please or make someone else happy, and their own needs and wants are subdued or not even seen as relevant. The placater is there to make things all good, to round off the sharp edges, if you like. And I can sometimes recognize part of me in that everything should work out and we should be collective as a team. It's all going to be okay. We'll work through the problems, and in that way I can placate. But I knew that neither placater nor people pleaser actually completely fit the bill when it comes to how I approach, say, people or situations, or when there's some sort of collective issue that needs to get resolved. And it came to me only recently as I was kind of reflecting on this, saying, what role do I play in these environments? And I've actually begun to realize it's a little different from people pleasing or placating. It's more that I am looking to end someone's complaining. So I'll go out of my way to do certain things, not to please them per se or placate them particularly, but to stop them complaining. I'll be there to, look, here's the problem, here's it resolved, let's move on to the next thing. I think that's at the heart of how I operate when it comes to looking like I'm making other people happy. I'm looking just to resolve a problem so we can get onto the bigger things, the ones which are really meaty and need a lot more attention, not the small, minor ones. And I think in particular, this is a fault, and I have many faults in my marriage, but when I can recall with my ex-wife how my role wasn't to placate. It wasn't about pleasing, it was about reducing the amount of complaining that I was hearing. So I know through my filters, through my perspective, that's what I was hearing and I responded to it. That's not to say that's what was happening. This is just speaking my interpretation of what happened. That said, I am aware that for me to respond was to respond to someone who was complaining, who wasn't looking at the bigger picture of things. And so I would try and bat away these problems and just resolve them and move on quickly without looking to spend so much time excavating and going through them. I think a lot of the challenges that I faced was recognizing that no matter what I was going to do to remove the complaint, as it were, that it wouldn't be enough. There'd always be one more, and the futility in trying to ease a complainer's problem grew more and more apparent. And so I can recall so many situations where there'd be a problem, I'd find a fix and it was done, but they wouldn't let it go. They had to kind of wrestle with it further and take longer over it, and I'm going, well, it's done, let's move on. And I made that my kind of go-to response in everything through the marriage, which was to just deal with it and look at the bigger picture, look at the larger things which are more important than the detail. And our contrasting perspectives, our contrasting first focus on a situation really was one of a number of reasons why the marriage wasn't viable, wasn't going to work. So I share this with you just as some reflection. Maybe this applies to you. I just want to share kind of my own thoughts on reading this particular book, and if anything at all, maybe just notice what's motivating you when you are helping someone or trying to get over a problem, or when you are trying to make someone happy. Are you a placater? Are you a pleaser? Both are valid. Or are you maybe, as I felt, more of the one who's solving the problem, the kind of ending the complainer? And it's interesting when we become aware, we can take stock of what we are doing, how quickly we can make adjustments or question things and really examine ourselves a bit further in why we're doing what we're doing. When we get to that stage, we can then really create, as I said many times before, that awareness we're there, we can acknowledge that we are on that road to change. And sometimes it can be like a house of cards all tumbling down, and that change happens very automatically. Maybe it needs additional work in sessions just to get through the last few barriers. But overall, it's phenomenal to just begin that process and ask yourself the question, what's motivating me here? What's my purpose behind placating or pleasing or ending the complainer? What's driving this? What I hope to achieve? And in that way, you get some insight into yourself, into your relationships, and maybe you have a choice now to choose ones which are more useful, that are more empowering, and maybe less reliant on other people. So, people pleasing, have a think, check in with yourself, and drop me a comment. Let me know how you like these episodes, if you've enjoyed them or not, or what you'd like to see in other ones in the future. But as I say, this will be the last one, at least till September, though I may do a few in between. This is the kind of the end of a season, if you like. That might be quite a nice way of me kind of compartmentalizing it. So maybe until September, I will catch you on the next episode, and have a wonderful summer.
This is how legends are made.